Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm going to do a video on how to set up a powermax. It's quite an old system now, the powermax complete. There's various versions of it. This was probably one of the last ones they did, the powermax complete 868 megahertz. People still got them in the houses, so I thought I'd do a video on how to set one up and change a few different bits and features on it, which will help. So if we flick the panel, the flap down, so at the moment it's just sitting not ready, gives me the time, says trouble. If I press the OK button,
disarm, not ready
tells
to arm.
me disarm, not ready to arm.
System trouble.
Tells me what the problem is.
CPU tamper open.
So it says CPU tamper open. That's purely because I have this case, the back plate and the front plate, and it isn't connected in properly. As soon as it's connected in, that will not say that. It won't say that it's tamper open. That is the only reason why I've got a fault on there. So if you ever needed to reset the codes, so you didn't know what the codes, if you moved into a new house and it's got one of these systems and you needed to reset the codes back to default standard, all you would do is you would unplug the mains, unplug the battery, put your two screwdrivers on these three little prongs just there, one touching the two prongs that side, one touching two prongs that side, plug the battery back in, hold them for a few seconds, about 5 or 6 seconds, take them off, and that will reset your unit back to factory settings. And that will be 4 ones for the customer code and 4 nines for the engineering code. This is a bit of a weird panel that I have here. This is why I've got it and it doesn't get used or anything. So there's one little funny feature on this system of getting into engineering mode. To go to engineering mode, you would usually just press the arrow button 3 times and it will come up installer mode. You'd press the OK button, type 9999, it will take you into installer mode. This panel won't do that for some reason. If I press the arrow button twice and press the user settings, press OK.
Please enter code.
Type in 4 ones for the user settings, and then I press the back button once and twice and it says installer mode. Press OK.
Please enter code.
And put in the 4 nines. This takes me into the installer mode. So if you wanted to change the installer code, you press the OK button. It says new manager code, press OK again. Tells me it's 9999. I can change it to whatever I want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Press OK. So to get into installer mode now is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the only one you need to change. You don't need to change new install code. Don't change that. And new master, that's the only one, new master code. So to come back, if I press the person standing inside the house button, that will take me back to there. Press it again, it will take me back to OK to exit. So if I press the arrow button, number 1, new installer code. So we've done that. So number 2, enrolling. This is when you add new devices onto your system, such as a key fob or a sensor, one of these sensors. I'll add this sensor on in a second. So it says enrolling. I press the OK button, it says enrolling type, press OK again. I usually just leave it by tamper. If I press the arrow button, it says normal enroll. I tend to just use it as by tamper. Press OK. Press the arrow button again, enroll sensor. If I press arrow, it says enroll key fob, press arrow again. This is where you enroll different, you have to find the one that you want to enroll. So if I press the back button twice, it will take me back to enroll sensor. So if I open the sensor up, there we go. This is just a normal sensor for a powermax, Visonic powermax system. So if I get that, shows you where to put the battery in. If I grab a new battery and then pop the new battery in, it says pos and neg on there, so let's put it to pos and neg. There we go, it's flashing at me. So if I go enroll sensor, press the OK button, set sensitivity. I do it on high sensitivity, it's always just easier to do it on that. Press OK again, press OK. It asks you what number. I'm going to put it in, usually you'd have a door contact on number 1, like on your front door, and then I would say this is probably going to be the hall one. So I'll leave it on number 2, press OK. It says transmit now. So there we go. Usually what you would do is press and hold. I don't know if you can see the back tamper and the front tamper. If I press and hold them and then release them, you can hear it beeping to say it's put in there. Gives you the little black symbol next to the little black square next to the number to say that it's in there. It will still keep chirping away, just to say because it's in there. So then what you would do is you would put obviously this up on the wall. This would then fit in, so you have to put it in at the bottom first, just like so. Clip it in at the top, put the lid on. What you're looking for on this is it to keep flashing. If it's a solid red light, it's not worked properly. Your tamper spring or your back tamper hasn't gone in properly. Needs to be a flashy light for a good sort of 30 seconds or so, and then you know that's gone in okay. There we go. I'll put that to one side. So that's basically just put that in there like that. So then if you, number 3 is nothing in there, and if I go back, you can see nothing's in number 1 because it hasn't got a little black square. So if I press the back, the little house button, that one there, then press it again, and there we go, we're back to enrolling. So that is where you would enroll all of your key fobs, all of your sensors, shock sensors, whatever you were enrolling. So if I go on to number 3, define zones, press the OK button, OK again. Comes up with number 1. We haven't got anything in number 1, so I'll go to number 2, little black symbol. You know something's in number 2. I know this is going to be this one here. Press OK. Press OK again. So type, at the moment it's on home delay. If it was a hall sensor, then I would, let's have a quick look. I'll just find the right one. Interior. So it's already come up with home delay. That's what it was on. If it's a hall sensor, you would leave it on home delay. So what that's going to allow you to do is, if your panel is in the hallway and you need to get to it to unset the system when you come home, your first door contact, or what usually it's the front door contact, would be set to, I will show you on here, will be delay 1. That will be what you would set your door contact on the front door to, delay 1. Delay 2, if you wanted another door, if you had a back door and you wanted to come in that way, you could set that to delay 2. But this sensor is going to be on the home delay. If I find that again, I would set that to home delay, press the OK button. That's going to allow you to walk, once you've opened the front door, to walk into the hallway. That sensor won't go off. It will allow you to walk up to the keypad and type in your code to unset it. That is what home delay means. It's delayed to when you come home. So, and then we click OK again for name. It's already preset as hall. If I scroll across, you've got kitchen, laundry room. Press the back button. I'll go back to hall. Press OK. You can set the chime on or off. You wouldn't really set the chime on a sensor. You would only really set the chime if you wanted a chime on the front door or the back door to know if people have come through the door. If I click OK, you don't need the chime on that one. Type is home delay. Sorry, I've gone back too far. Chime type. Yeah, so that is it. That's that one already set up. Like I say, you just go through the different types on what you want to set up. I'll quickly go through the different types now. So if we start at the beginning, interior follow, that's if you have a sensor on the landing, you can set another one up to allow you to walk through it. Don't tend to use that very often. Perimeter is if you have internal sensors, such as you have one in the lounge, you have one in the kitchen. If somebody walks into that area, that's going to go off straight away. So a perimeter means it will go off straight away. Perimeter follow, don't tend to use that. Delay 1 is obviously would be a front door contact or a back door contact or a contact that allows you to walk through the door to get to the keypad to unset it. Same as delay 2. 24-hour silent, don't tend to use that, nor that. Fire would be if you are setting up a smoke sensor. So you would set that to fire. So if you have a fire, it's going to come up and it's going to make a slightly different sound on the actual unit. and it will come up and tell you there's fire. Non-alarm, don't tend to use that. Emergency, don't tend to use that. Gas, nor that, nor flood. Interior is if you have a sensor up on the landing, then or in the bedrooms, then you would set those ones to interior. So interior is any sensor that you do not want to work at night time when you're doing a nighttime set. So you'd set any of those to interior. So if you only wanted your door, say if you had, like, for instance, you had your back door, your front door, your conservatory door, your side door, you had all of those on contacts, you could then set everything else to interior if you really wanted to, and nothing else would work at night. So when you set the nighttime one, which is obviously the person standing inside the house, only the doors would be on. So interior means it isn't on at night. Temperature, don't use that. Home delay, don't tend to use that. Outdoors, don't use that. And then we're back to interior follow. Hopefully that's sort of self-explanatory on how to actually set up different bits and pieces. So if I press the lock button to get back to the beginning, go back to, right, okay, so define the panel. There's not many bits and pieces in here we change. If I press the OK button, entry delay is how long the alarm system's going to let you walk in. So they're usually preset to 30 seconds. So when you come through the front door or the back door, or whichever door you have set up to allow you entry, it's going to allow you 30 seconds to walk up to the panel to type in the code before it goes off. You can obviously change that. If I press the arrow button, 45, 60, I'll leave it on 60 seconds. Entry delay 2, you don't need to change it. It's usually set to 60 as default. You just leave that. Exit delay, this is when you're going out. They come preset as 30. You can change them to whatever you want. So if you wanted longer time to get out of the house, so because for instance, if the keypad is in a bit of a distance from the front door or the door you're going out of, you would change that. I'll leave that as 30. Oh no, there we go, leave that as 30. Next one is bell time. This is where you would set on how long you want your external bell, the outside bell, to go off for. So usually we tend to set them to either 15 minutes or sometimes 20 minutes. I'll put it on 15 minutes. Next one's abort time. Don't need to worry about that. Alarm cancel, no. Quick arm, no. Quick arm, sorry, yes. Oh no, I've gone wrong there. So let's go back. Define panel. And if I go back to quick arm. So that comes off as standard. If I switch that on, all that means is when you're going out, you only have to press the lock button when you're going out. You don't have to press lock and code. You still have to press unlock and code when you're coming in, but you only have to then press the lock button when you want to set the system. That's quite a handy feature to have. So it's worth switching that one on. Bypass, don't need to worry about that. Exit mode, you just leave that on as normal. Let's have a quick look off by door. So if you leave it on as normal, what that means is it's going to give you the 30 seconds or 60 seconds or however long that you have set it up for to set the system. So that's your exit mode when you're going out. If you leave that on normal, it's going to set it for that. If I press the OK button again and then the arrow button, if I do off by door, that would mean if you're setting the system, you can basically press the lock button and then it won't set until you go out of the door you're going out of and close it behind you. Then it will, a few seconds later, the system will set. Some people have that on. I tend to leave it on normal because it gives you the 30-second countdown. Works well. Piezo beeps comes as default as off when home. Tend to change it to off exit home, so no, we leave it as off when home. So what that means is when you're setting a nighttime set, the system won't beep at you at night. So when you're pressing the nighttime button, it doesn't give you the beep, 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 beep. It does it all silently for 30 seconds, and then right at the end, it will give you a little beep to say the system is set. So we leave that off when home. Trouble beeps, straight in here and switch this off. Do not leave it on off at night because it's very annoying. disable the beeps. You do not need the trouble beeps on. It is really, really annoying. It will beep at you if you have a low battery or anything like that. 3 o'clock in the morning, the alarm system will start beeping. Very, very annoying. Always switch that off. Panic alarm. You can either have it on audible or silent or disabled. Tend to leave it on audible, so if you have a panic button, you press the panic button, the alarm system's going to make lots and lots of noise. Swinger stop, don't need to change that. Cross zoning, all that. Supervision is disabled anyway, don't need to do anything with that. Not ready. Auxiliary. That is basically, you can change the jam detect. So sometimes the sensors can jam the system, or other things can jam the system. You can change it. It comes as EN3060. If you're having problems, you can try changing it to something else, or even you can disable it if you don't want the jamming on. Tend to just leave it on EN3060. Don't really have too many problems with that. Latch key, don't worry about that. Not active, no. Backlight. It's quite good to put the backlight on if you have it in a cupboard. If you have it in the hallway, then just leave it on for 10 seconds. It works okay. It's just this light which illuminates the display right there. I'll leave it on as always on. Because, yeah, like I say, handy if you have it in a cupboard. Duress. Duress code you can put in. Say, for instance, I did 2580. Then if somebody forced me to unset the alarm and I pressed 2580, it would then set the alarm system off and make lots of noise. And obviously signal if you wanted it to signal somebody. I'll leave it 00 at the moment, so that means it's off if it's like that. Piezo siren is on. You just leave that. That's the actual siren itself. Reset options, tend to use that as just customer or user reset, because that means you can reset it yourself if it goes off. Tamper options. So you can switch the zone tamper on or off. So this is basically if I had this opened, this sensor, that is now tampered. If that was off, it wouldn't matter. It's just looking these springs here. Sometimes you can get faulty ones. If you have a faulty spring on one of your sensors or a couple of your sensors, then you can switch that to off, and it won't look for those. It won't look at any of the sensors. It's not just the faulty ones. It won't look at any of them. It's quite handy if you do have a faulty one, then you can switch it off for the time being, and it sort of cures a problem. Quite handy that. If I go to siren online, no. Memory prompts, don't need to do anything with that. Disarm options. It's just at any time, so you can disarm at any time. You won't really change that. Not that. Not that. Not that. Not that. Nearly to the end. AC fail report. Don't need to change any of that. Code version. User permit. Don't need to change any of these. And we're back to the beginning again. That's that menu. So if I press the lock button to go back to the start, and then skip back through again. So I've done that, done define zones, done define panel, define comms. You don't really need to change anything in define comms. I'm not going to go through define comms. That's if you have, like when we used to have it plugged into phone lines and things, and it would signal the customer's phone and things like that. There's nothing really you're going to change in there nowadays, because these can't have a Ethernet module in them to work through an app. They don't work with an app. They're a really old system. Define outputs, you don't need to do anything with that. Define voice, you don't need to do anything with that. Diagnostics, this is where you do a test on the system if you ever wanted to test the system. You just go, press the OK. Wireless sensor test, press OK again. Diagnostic test, press OK again. Hall, it's the only one I've got in there, which is the one here. What you can do to do a test on it, if I open it, just to take the lid off, then signals, put the lid back on, and do that back up, and then it tells me it's a strong signal. Obviously it's right next to it. They have a good distance on them, but that is one way of testing it. That is how I would test it if I go into a customer's house. Take the lid off, put it back on, because these sensors will go into sleep mode. So after a while, this light won't flash, and you can walk around your house and none of them will flash because it's seeing you in the area of the sensor. So they go into sleep mode to save on the battery life. Doesn't mean the sensor's not working, because this panel always talks to the sensors and vice versa. They talk to each other. So you know that the sensor's always working, because it will come up with a fault on here if it wasn't. So yeah, that's how you do a test. So if I press the button again and skip back through the menus, we've done that, diagnostics, factory default. You can factory default the whole panel. If I press the OK button, OK to
Please
restore.
enter code.
Type in the code.
Please enter code.
Can't remember what code I changed it to now. There we go. So that's going to default the whole panel. That will change all of my numbers. So customer number will be 1111. Engineer code will be 499999. That's just a default, and it will delete all of, so now this sensor isn't in there anymore. Deletes all the sensors off, everything. Serial numbers, you don't need to worry about that, nor that. Partitioning, you won't really partition on this system. That means you can set it up into different areas, but you don't really need to do that because it will just work as a normal full alarm or a nighttime alarm. Don't need to worry about that. Operation mode, don't need to change that. And you're back to the beginning again. So if I press the lock button and OK, and we are back out to normal day mode. So at the moment it just says ready, gives me the time. Because I've switched all of the tampers off, doesn't matter, I can take the... Oh no, actually it does matter on that one, sorry. On the panel it will still look at the tamper, but on any of the zones it won't look at any of the tampers on the zones. But I reset the whole panel, so it is actually looking at the tampers again now. All the stuff I've changed, it's put it back to normal. So, but I've got it clicked in at the bottom, so it's not showing any faults at the moment. It says ready and memory. The only thing memory means, if I press the OK button,
ready to arm CPU tamper alarm.
It says CPU tamper alarm. That's all it's saying. If it said CPU tamper open, it means that the panel isn't clicked in properly. It's clicked in at the bottom, which is enough for this test. It's just telling me that I had a tamper alarm, that's all. When I set and unset the system, that memory will disappear. It won't keep flashing memory. And to set the system, obviously, it's the lock symbol. And at the moment, it'll be lock.
Please enter code.
And it'll ask me for the code as well.
Arming away. Please exit now.
Because I defaulted the whole system back to normal, that's how you set it. Unset, press the unlock button.
Please enter code.
Put the code in.
Ready to arm.
Systems unarmed, ready to arm. That is basically how you set a powermax. Like this is a powermax complete. Most powermaxes are pretty similar. That is all of the menus you need to change. You don't really need to change anything else. If this has been helpful, then if you like and subscribe, that will help my channel. Thanks very much for watching.